All right, let's talk about something you think you know. We're going to get into a plant that's probably in your fridge right now, but you have no idea what it actually is. It's a story about biology, a little bit of class warfare, and a spice blockade that completely changed the way people eat.
Just let that sink in for a second. There is a root sitting in the dirt that has absolutely no smell, no flavor, nothing. It's totally harmless. But the second you damage it, you cut it, you crush it, it unleashes a chemical compound so ridiculously aggressive, it feels like it's burning out your sinuses. This isn't just a spice you see, it's a weapon.
So let's unpack the science behind this little biological ninja. You know, most plants, they give you a warning, right? They've got thorns, or they taste bitter right away, or they have some kind of powerful smell. Horseradish, it plays a much sneakier game. It just waits.
I mean, this is what makes it so brilliant. A durian fruit. You can smell that thing from another zip code. It's screaming, "Stay away!" It's an obvious warning. But horseradish? Complete silence. It sits there, smelling of dirt, giving you zero clues about the chemical payload it's hiding. It's a trap.
And here's how the trap works. That intense burn isn't just in the root. The plant very cleverly stores two totally harmless chemicals in separate little compartments. It's only when some animal, or, your knife, crushes those cells that the walls break, the chemicals mix, and boom, you get a violent chemical reaction. It's literally a biological flash grenade designed to go off in the attacker's mouth.
So, why in the world would any human eat something that's designed to be a chemical weapon? Well, to get that, we have to go all the way back to the 1500s. Europe was in the middle of a huge spice crisis. The very concept of flavor was under attack.
So here's what was going on. The Ottoman Empire basically had a stranglehold on all the key trade routes into Europe, and they started slapping these insane taxes on everything. We're talking pepper, cinnamon, cloves. All of a sudden, these simple seasonings became luxury goods. If you weren't royalty, forget about it. You couldn't afford flavor.
And this created a massive divide. The rich folks had their black gold. Black pepper was so valuable, it was basically currency. The peasants, they got bland, salted meat, and whatever weeds they could find in the garden. They were completely shut out from the world of taste. And this right here is where desperation gets creative. The peasants, looking at a future of completely tasteless food, started searching for a solution. Not in the marketplace they couldn't afford, but in the dirt right outside their door. They found that painful, aggressive root and turned it into a brilliant food hack.
I mean, seriously, think about it. If every single meal you ate was bland and joyless, just salted to keep from rotting, would you be willing to eat something that literally hurts just to feel anything at all? For them, the answer was yes, absolutely. They chose pain over nothing.
So horseradish became the poor man's pepper. It delivered that sharp, aggressive kick that kind of felt like the expensive spices they couldn't have. Best of all, it grew for free. It was powerful enough to cut through the taste of all that salted, preserved meat and make it edible. It became a lifesaver, especially for the English working class and their roast beef.
Of course, the story couldn't just end there, because eventually the nobility, sitting around with all their money and their black gold, started to realize their own food was actually pretty bland too, and they started paying attention to what the peasants were doing to survive.
And look, this is not a new story. The upper class has a long, long history of getting food completely wrong. For centuries, they thought tomatoes were poisonous. Turns out the acid from the fruit was just leaching lead off their fancy pewter plates. The peasants, who ate off wooden trenchers, knew better all along.
Or how about the portobello mushroom? That was literally considered garbage, animal feed. Then some genius marketer in the 80s gave it a fancy Italian-sounding name, and suddenly it's a gourmet ingredient that chefs are charging you $20 for. It's all about the rebrand.
And that is precisely what happened with horseradish. The rich basically stole the peasants' survival food. They took the idea, cleaned it up, and started serving this lowly root next to their expensive roasts, acting like it had been their sophisticated choice all along.
So let's just put this all together. The next time you see a little white dollop of horseradish sauce next to your prime rib, remember what you're actually looking at. It isn't just a sauce. It's the end result of a plant's chemical warfare, which was then weaponized by poor people trying to survive a global spice blockade.
We took that entire incredible story of survival, of class dynamics, of biological weaponry, and we neatly packed it into a jar and slapped a label on it that says, condiment.
When you really stop and think about that, now that's absolutely wild.